Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John's report is for the 18th of March. Happy birthday to Isabella. Girl is moving along, and so is the market. So bullish from the crossover of Magenta, still within the continuation zone, but we're just breaking out of it potentially here with orange dipping below green here on the DOC. That would be a significant shift, particularly as we approach 38%. So, it's been a slow build back, and it's just been a little bit of short cover. The doom and gloom crowd gets overdone a bit. Now, DOC hasn't fully recovered in any way, shape, or form, so you may get a run up like this before a little bit of a fade. Remember, the ticking time bomb of the Strait of Hormuz is still intact. Likewise, readings from the NQ here from the NASDAQ, so claim crossover bullish of magenta over yellow and the same dip. So congruencies in the market are a little bit different here from a DOC with the steel crossing sign. That's a bit more bullish than we saw from the S&P. So that crossover indicates that the short-term buyer push. However, once it gets up towards that 13.5, it's negative. It's actually the opposite situation. So, and any pivot lower, definitely going to be a drain. So keep an eye on that from a daily standpoint. Intraday will be easy to see. That becomes no question. You can still look at that. It's back and forth, but you're still over 90. That's a $30 a barrel premium right now. Risk. That's the reality of it, and that is rippling every day. Going to mean higher prices you can put off for a while. Smart people filled up, before the uh, jump took place, but you're going to reach a point where you've got to fill up again. And, it's sort of no different than gas stations that didn't raise their prices immediately when the shift happened because you're going to pay the new price to refill your tanks. People often think, oh my God, they increased the price and they're making a huge profit. Yeah, they are, but not when they have to go replace it. The lucky ones are the ones who got deliveries the day before and were able to sell it at the much higher value, but they still got to pay the replacement costs. It's one half dozen the other. It's not going to do any good for them unless prices immediately plummet. But Trump keeps saying they're going to immediately plummet. It hasn't happened. And the euro making a recovery on that news, but the reality is there hasn't really been any improvement. And at the end of the day, they're going to have to trade a lot of euros for oil dollars. So gold not doing anything yet. It will, particularly once the Fed has to cut, because it's going to start to ripple through the economy very clearly in employment. So Bitcoin has been in the same rise as people are just preparing for a move, and is the best place to store your money interim. It's already dealt with its 50% retrace there, so uh, not as big a risk factor from that standpoint. So, last couple of days, though, we've had these nice short cover rallies here. We see Magenta leading. So, during all the time, the shorts keep adding, and buyers just keep sucking them right up, forcing them to cover higher and higher, and still active even right now. So, they think that there's a risk on element, but they keep being driven to the woodshed of shorting because at the end of the day, Fed can just come in and keep popping money into the situation. And that's how that run up looked the other day. And boom, pretty easy to follow. Um, did a modest retrace and then did the full 50+% rate there by the middle part of the day. And then here we are in post market European session, and boom, they just kicked it high gear. But you can see we had MBI weight spike when we were above 50%. It's squeezed down now because of the big rise here, but uh, we met the 0% on that MBI weight spike. So does what it's supposed to do. It's just a matter of waiting. I think I can get rid of it. That doesn't really help much because you have the big run up over here. So that's what scaling does. So we're getting big moves, easy to follow. In fact, that was a pretty good one because If you trailed it from that close, 67.42, took you all the way to the end right there, 68. I mean, if you went to the interim here, this is an interesting one because to me, you're still right at the continuation, so there's no change, never dip below the 38% from that standpoint. So I understand what the code was looking at in this particular spot from the technical crossover, but you still had magenta over white at that point. It was this little dip right here that caused the shift, but it was immediate reversal to the upside on that, and you already had MBI white fading in there. So I'll take a look at that adjustment so that we can make that clear, and that'll continue to follow cleanly. Same with the short signal there, was pretty clean from that standpoint, but no way to sustain the negative side of it. And then we went into just sideways. I mean, this was a lot of nothing, but still, consider the range from 64 to 85. It was pretty good intraday, even if it looks like it was pretty much going nowhere. It was still plenty of enough move to make some things happen, and just keeps adding to the points. So that's the long and the short of it for now. I think that you're really going to have to just keep swinging for it with the indicators. At least we can outside make huge returns simply because we're able to see trends develop. But for the layperson, I think they're just going to get beat around pretty hard here because fear causes people to make mistakes. And the mistake in this case would be having exited everything without really thinking it through. So, but the clock is ticking. It's not a guaranteed situation here. You got to watch because the longer that straight is closed, the potential damage can get significant, and it becomes exponential, and then it gets become a cascade where you can't stop it. So that's the concern, and I think that's what Iran's playing for at this particular point. The only thing is that you end up with a new leader convinced of the same thing because they keep dying, so they don't have any past experience understanding of what the last guy went through. So anyway, that's the geopolitical situation always impacting the markets. So trade well. Anything relevant? I'll put on the team chat. Have a good one.